you and I, assuming that you don't believe in this, you need me to write what I'm going to write and others like me to write what I'm going to write so that you can critique the legitimacy of what I'm writing. And I need you to critique, theoretically, what I'm going to write so that I can defend against your critique. So the idea is that this oppositional relationship, which isn't going to manifest itself physically, but this theoretically oppositional relationship will itself create the dialogical exchange that will need to happen for those who say terrorism is a fact and for those who say it's not. Once those theoretical paradigms and foundational accounts are regimented, then the global population can pick sides, right? Oh no, I believe this because this theoretical paradigm was constructed and defends it in this way, and that appeals to my sensibility. Oh no, I believe this because this theoretical paradigm opposes that, and that appeals to my sensibility, and we're going to go there. And then everybody builds on after that. So that the idea is, now's the time, I'm telling you right now, I don't want a year to come by, 2 years, to be like, oh, you know, Dr. Campbell was saying that, because the book will already be out. I'll be on to the next project, to believe it. So now's the time. And like I said, it's not a competition. I'm doing this so that people have an understanding. You can, you know, if you want to deny it, that's cool. That's cool, not a problem. Make sure you understand what it is that you need to do. If you want to defend the system, if you want to legitimize the system, well, recognize what the objector is going to do and make sure that you do a proper defense. Make sure that your theory's on point, because if it's not, it's going to be destroyed. It's going to be crap. It's going to be crap. Okay, so the things to begin with. Okay, so C. This is 3C, middle of page 10. I assume this stance that terrorism is a fact. It's sort of obvious, right? So I do believe that terrorism is a fact, which necessitates a theoretical approach to deny any attempt to support evidence as fact, right? Which necessitates a theoretical approach to deny any attempt to support evidence as fact. I might have to reword that. That doesn't sound right. So I'll put a question mark there. I think I was writing too fast. Which means that I'm going to deny any evidence. I'm going to deny any evidence that denies fact. Right, I'm gonna deny any evidence, external evidence that denies the fact. Yeah, so I need to reword that. So I do assume terrorism is a fact. Specifically, my personal beliefs really don't matter. But the idea is, you could theoretically establish the framework independent to any individual. I don't want to give too much away because you guys got to do some of the conceptual work yourself, right? But the idea is independent to any particular actor, the state of affairs, the events that have happened. It's harder to deny that that wasn't an act of terrorism. You can debate all day about who the actors are, and I'm absolutely disinterested in that from a pedagogical standpoint. Who the actor was Osama bin Laden really the actor? Was this guy really the actor? I mean, in a sense, I don't do that type of stuff. That's not my, there's a role for that. Investigative journalists, that's what they do, more power to them. Right? For me, I don't care who the actor is. Right? The actor is really inconsequential. The actor is a means to me accessing the significance of the event, or to be technical, the significance of the event ontology. But the particular actor, who he or she is completely irrelevant. So already my theoretical paradigm can be stronger because the paradigm will be constructed independent to actor-specific identification. Like, I'm not going to be interested in who the actors were. This is what happened. This fact propagated terror. This fact was an act of terror. Irrespective of who did it, or who authorized it, or who funded it, the act itself. Let's look at that. So that, you can start to see now how that conceptual sort of foundation can be solidified relatively easily, and then further regimented by more theoretical buttressing. So I do assume, just to go on the record, I mean I always go on the record, but I do assume that terrorism is a fact. And I'm totally disinterested in actors or agents motivated by act. I don't care about motivations. I don't care about any of that. Matter of fact, I definitely don't care about motivations because I wrote a book on intent, right? I'd rather talk about intents than motivation. 3D. What will invariably result is, and this is important, a litany of academic debate, I forgot the word, what will invariably result is a litany of academic debate about the nature and legitimacy of the emerging field of study. And that's what this is. It's going to be the debate. Those who side with the assumption that terrorism is a factual state of affairs, those who side with the assumption that it's not. And maybe at some point in the middle we might be able to synthesize. I think what ends up happening is people have done enough social science work to know about thesis, antithesis, synthesis, and they immediately jump for the synthesis. That's wrong. That is absolutely wrong. It's a dangerous thing to do. At the beginning of a new discipline, at the beginning of an emerging concept, despite the fact that we know that we are probably at some point in the future, chronologically speaking, going to arrive at some synthesis, it is not appropriate at time t1, at the emergence of the theoretical paradigm, to start thinking about synthesis. No, pick a side. Pick a side and argue that side thoroughly. You can't arrive at synthesis with sort of half-reasoned, half-argued points. No, pick a side. Argue those points until exhaustion, and at that time, we can go back years later. So, I mean, if you think about this, what I'm doing, if you really want to know, what I'm doing is I'm picking a side. I'm going to argue this position for a couple of years, see how long this goes, see who the opponents are, theoretically, figure out what's out there, what's the lay of the land, and at some point in the future, probably undermine everything that I wrote to create a new synthesis, right? I mean, it's just creating work for the sake of creating more work. Augment some of the initial assumptions to create new interpretations that facilitate a co-created interpretation that takes the objector's claims as being valid in some regard and takes my original claims as being valid in some regard and synthesizing that. But I can't do that now because there is no real theory, right? I mean, this is like, shout out to, I mean, of course, shout out to Oxford. These guys are no joke, but I mean, this is pretty groundbreaking stuff. This is pretty groundbreaking stuff. And the lecture series that I did before this, to my knowledge, there really isn't much on the web in terms of rigorous. I might be the only, I don't know for a fact, but I think I might be the only guy that's doing this, right? That's doing an academic, rigorous sort of lecture, pedagogical lecture on national security. The idea is to get more people, this is a perfect example of what it is that I'm attempting to do. I'm attempting to make this conceptually accessible so that people understand conceptually what is at stake. And now that you understand what is at stake, you are better, if you were willing, if you had any proclivity to participation, you are probably more likely to participate now. I need people to participate because I need someone to argue against. I can't be the only person doing this, right? I need someone to help me when I get weak theoretically. Oh, that's right, Mary at such and such university, such and such, had this really amazing point of security, and I want to use her interpretation with respect to the distinction between cybersecurity and infrastructural security. Is cybersecurity infrastructural, blah, 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 whatever, right? We need a community. So this is community building 101. You got to make the stuff accessible in order for there to be a community. This is the conditions for the possibility of community. So I'm doing the dirty work in building the theoretical foundation so that there can be a community, because we need it. Even the opposition, you need opposition, because it's not going to be a bunch of yes men and women. So that's it. Well, right. So what invariably unfolds is this. From this will be those who support the theoretical framework that legitimizes terrorism as a fact, and those who don't. And we all know about social constructionism, and people will say, oh, it's a fact, but it's socially constructed, blah, blah, blah. We can have that discussion at some point in the future, but the idea is, at this point, we need participants. We need way more than not just me. I mean, there's lots of people existing who are in the field. I'm in no sense they have a ton of people who already published a book and their collected works in a companion. So there's tons of people that are doing the research. The idea is we need more people doing dense, seminal research theoretically, right? That's what we need. We have a lot of historians, we have a lot of social scientists, we have a lot of poli-sci folk, tons of poli-sci folks. We need, I don't know if I'm going to be able to attract philosophers. Philosophers are not typically attracted to this discourse, but we need theoreticians, right? The theoreticians in poli-sci need to emerge. The theoreticians in IR need to emerge. The theoreticians in conflict resolution need to emerge, and collectively we should in the spirit of community, begin to conceptualize and formalize NSA theory properly.